We're good. We're back. We're refreshed. We only have a little bit more to go in this stanza. Right. Hello. Hi. Back. All right. Matter and water merged and produced the third in time. So we definitely need astrality to produce the animal kingdom, especially the higher types of animals. Third kingdom of nature. We're on the air showing screen. Good. Okay. Okay. Let's try to finish this. Ascension thus progressed. We are certainly on the upward arc, aren't we, of the second outpouring. We're not yet at the third outpouring, though, are we? The monads have not, they've sent themselves forth, of course, through, the metallization and vegetalization and zoonation. They've sent themselves forth in that way. And they've been, the third and second aspect of divinity have been active in producing matter and producing the forms. But the monad has not really, up to this upward arc, begun its ensouling process. I oftentimes say that the soul is more involved as the consciousness of the monad than it is within the higher mental plane. Soul really is monadic awareness as far as I'm concerned, but it's very cribbed, cabin, and confined as you descend the planes where it goes. But now, ascension thus progressed. The builders work in union. Harmony is taking the place of dissonance. The builders of the first two planes, counting from below, they called to the guardians of the fiery zone. What's the fiery zone? We know that. What is the fiery zone? Fiery zone, we're still below the fiery zone is mental plane. The fiery zone is the mental plane, yes. It would seem that the guardians of the fiery zone are the devas of the mental plane. If they're guardians, are they unconscious? Usually guardians are fairly conscious, so we're talking somehow about the conscious devas of the mental plane. Probably lower mental, let's see, and the guardian should be conscious. Let's put that down. Should be conscious, but it's possible, I suppose, also to be assigned. It is possible to have a patterned function which guards even if you are not aware of it. So maybe they're, the way they are deployed. Even if they're unconscious, they might be deployed in such a way that they turn out to be guardians. But anyway, we are rising through the, thank goodness, this is such a relief. Involution is a real drag, right? I mean, it's so depressing, isn't it? I think one of the most depressing songs I ever wrote was in the a ritual for Virgo. Probably nobody remembers that it was so depressing. It was all about down, 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 and down, down. And, I began to think of it, this is a very sad song about involution. Well, maybe it's not sad at all from the perspective of certain beings, but I realized I had a prejudice that involution was sad and evolution was happy. Anyway, if you really beg me, I'll be happy to have us sing that song sometime. I don't hear any requests. What is it? Well, but involution you have to complexify all the time, and it takes a lot of concentration too. So the great beings behind the involutionary process, they are always concentrating on how to diversify according to intention. They are creating certain constituents that have to be built into the right kinds of forms. Matter and water mixed with fire. 3 kingdoms worth, really. The inner spark within the form. Now this is really strange. This is not good English, so something's wrong. The inner spark within the form were blended all together. Matter and water mixed with fire, the inner spark, maybe all of those were blended all together. Maybe that. Yeah, matter and water mixed with fire, the inner spark within the form. Maybe that. Maybe there's a missing comma here. Matter and water mixed with fire, fire being the inner spark within the form, were blended all together. Anyway, we've created 3 kingdoms now, and every one of them contains the other, right? The The vegetable kingdom contains the mineral, the animal contains the vegetable and the mineral, the man contains the animal, vegetable, and mineral. Okay, 3 types of builders are interacting. Okay, well, I think I'll eliminate that because that is not correct. Now we put a comma in and everything is better. To create the third kingdom of nature, all the lower 3 types of devas are required because in the animal kingdom arises incipient mentality based on motion. There is no mind without motion, and the animal kingdom is the kingdom in motion according to the third ray being the ray of movement, and the third kingdom, so that which is animal moves about. That is the plants stay planted, animals move. All right. We're almost there. The mighty one looked down. Oh, well, okay. Now, the mighty one is probably the solar logos, but at this point, the planetary logos is part of him and is probably also looking down. We're dealing perhaps with the 7 days of creation, completed or almost completed. Man does not yet exist. What day was man created? Does anybody remember in the Bible? When was man created first? I forget the sequence. But man is the macrocosm of many lesser beings, so he might not have been created on the last day. I just can't remember. Does anybody remember? Here's the New Testament, unfortunately, but the Old Testament is missing, and that's in the Old Testament. It's in Genesis, isn't it? Remember what he said about the Old Testament? What did he say about that? He insisted you have the New Testament as your book. You have that with you, along with the Yoga Sutras and the crest jewel of discrimination, and what was another? Oh, yes, the Bhagavad Gita. You have to have that. You have to have the Yoga Sutras. You have to have that. But he didn't say you have to have the Old Testament, did he? He didn't. So God took the 7th day off. Okay. No, man was created at some point, right? I think the sequence is very important, and I need to study it, and so do you. But in any case, God looked down. God who? God the Solar Logos looking through all of the eyes of the planetary logoi? Well, let's just say that creation is occurring at different times in different planetary schemes, right? Some planetary schemes are way behind our own. Some of the lesser schemes are much more unfolded, even though their spiritual nature is not as high. You know what I'm saying? In other words, like Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and all that, their spiritual nature is very high, but they are not yet unfolded. How does that make sense? It does make sense, but how does it make sense, in your opinion? These great gods are not yet as unfolded as Mars, Earth, even Venus, Mercury. The greater gods are less unfolded than the lesser gods. How does that make sense? Think about your own. Well, okay. If we could take that in a general sense, we could take that statement that the conditions are not right in a general sense, but I will just give a little hint, and then you tell me what it means. Look at your own chakra system. See what I mean? Absolutely. The lower chakras unfold much before the higher chakras. In other words, your ajna center, well, maybe that's not one of the latest ones because that has a lot of earlier functions, but your head center, whatever the head center planet really is, maybe it's Uranus, might be one of the last. The heart center is Jupiter. Heart in the head is Neptune. Saturn, it's about equally unfolded as is Jupiter. But look at Mars. Look at Mars and the Earth and Venus. Everything below the diaphragm is really unfolded. Venus is like the solar plexus of the solar logos. Some say the heart, but I think that's later. I think it will come. Earth is the base of the spine or related to the spleen center. Mars is the sacral center. Really unfolded. They're farther ahead. Venus is farther ahead by its own merit. Venus is, let's say, the solar plexus center of a feminine system which is astrally polarized. It's getting so much support from the solar logos because of where the solar logos is in his development and the kind of being that he is. He has just passed the second initiation, the sixth ray. He supports Venus in its unfoldment. But when you start rising above the diaphragm, it's much less, isn't it? So, there are some things that don't unfold until the very end. Now, what about Earth? What about the analogy to Earth at this point? Earth is the what, supposedly? It's the root, because, and he never says that. He never says Earth is the root chakra of the solar logos. He never says that, no. But what he does say is the analogy is that, what does he say? Something like Draco is to the one about whom not may be said. Well, let's see. The whole idea, he compares the sun and earth as something on the base of the spine. So he actually gives the analogy. That's how he delivers that idea. So basic earth is fundamental, although earth definitely has a connection with other chakras as well. The spleen, why do we have such a very fecund planet? It's full of forms. What is it? It's the vitality pouring through our planet, connected with the spleen, I think. And at one point, astrologically, he connects Earth with the spleen. So I think different planets can uphold different chakra functions at different times, and even triangles of planets can be involved rotating in chakric function in relation to a particular chakra. So if you look at the base of the spine, you've got Pluto down there, you've got Mars down there, you've got Earth down there. Is there a triangle between Pluto, Earth, and Mars? There surely is. I mean, that we even know from just studying the triangles. They're all found down there. It's only Mercury that's the wanderer. It's hard to get him in any particular place, but maybe up here at the Ajna Center finally. Anyway, the forms met his approval. Whose approval? The planetary logos, yes, and also the solar logos even more importantly. As I said, it's not always been the case. The solar angels are very choosy, and if they don't like you, they'll burn you up. You know how it goes. You see Raiders of the Lost Ark? I thought that was a great scene, didn't you? When they open the Ark of the Covenant and all these nice-looking angels come out, and immediately they turn into wrathful deities, right? Protecting the teaching. Yes, those were some scared Nazis. Okay. Yes. On this. Okay. So, what came after him? Okay, reptiles came on the same day. Okay, now I'm a little hard of hearing. So did she say bees? Beasts. Beasts. Ah, okay. So this must be, days are like rounds or something, Okay, on the fifth day, the birds are created and the sea. The ocean? Ocean, okay. All right, well, very good. Well, anyway, man is relatively late in the day then. Well, that's good. That fits here, doesn't it? Because we're going to rise to the sort of middle of the kingdoms. We're going to rise to the top of the third kingdom, and then something's going to happen thanks to the intervention of the solar angels, which is going to give us a man. So anyway, our solar logos, planetary logos, is okay and approves with what's been done. Forth came the cry for further light. Where does such a cry arise? Instinctual, isn't it, really? They say animal man aspired but didn't know he was aspiring. So something in him reached out towards something higher, right? The spirit in us is always aspiring. It doesn't like to be contained. Not forever anyway. It goes down into matter as an act of service, but it awakens to itself and seeks the end of containment. So the rising kingdoms aspire. The animal kingdom inspires inchoately, unconsciously, towards the human kingdom. So it means that without too much form. And Yeah, not too formally, not in an organized way. Unconsciously towards the human king. Again, he gathered in the sound. That's the solar logos, planetary logos. They're really one and the same, because our planetary logos is a chakra in the solar logos, so both are operating together. Sound is the creative agent, okay? He's varying, at varying times, he talks about solar logos, planetary logos. He drew to higher levels the feeble spark of light. So this big in-breath is acting upon what? What is our feeble spark of light? It's not the monad, huh? The monad is not feeble, is it? It's the center of power in our nature. It may be called a spark, hanging from the flame by the, what does he call it? The finest thread of Fohat, but it's not a, it seems to me to be the rising spark of mind. Now, it's not the spark of mind that the solar angels implant, but it's the mental unit. It's that kind of mentality that is growing, and it's being drawn upward. It's being inhaled. The higher being is making it possible for this spark of mind to become demanding. It's feeding it. I shouldn't really call it the spark of mind. I should reserve the term spark of mind for the for that part of the solar angel which is invested around the mental unit. That part of the solar angel which stimulates the mental unit and anchors itself in the mental unit, I can't be sure, that I call the spark of mind. That's what the Tibetan tends to call it. Yes, I would say that this spark of, let's call it this mentality, this mental unit, is the result of the work of fire by friction. But if you really think about it, the monad has grabbed these permanent atoms and has, in a way, infused them with its own energy, and so the rising of the evolutionary track is really the monad at work, urging forward, upward through the forms. The monad is behind everything. The monad is one. The monad is everything. So we shouldn't just think of the monad as some kind of remote triangle somewhere, It's here and now, and it's everything we do, even though in a very attenuated and compressed and confined form. He drew to higher levels the feeble spark of light, which means to me that the mind principle began to expand, even in animal man. It's the attenuated monad expressing through the lower three kingdoms. Also, the mental unit spurred on by the attenuated monad and urging forward towards greater light. So mind is growing in the higher animals. And that's happening in our domesticated animals as well. I heard a talking dog the other day, about 40 well-defined words. Really, it was, I want to say it was inhuman what I heard, but I want to say it was human what I heard. Amazing. Just look up talking dog. It'll be there somewhere. Okay, another tone was heard, the sound of cosmic fire, hid in the sons of Manas. Now we've made the connection between the sons of Manas, who are the solar angels, and the cosmic mental plane. This just about says it, doesn't it? This is the cosmic mental plane. Another tone was heard, the sound of cosmic fire, hid in the sons of Manas. They have a definite origin of the cosmic mental plane, calling to their primaries. Now this is rather interesting. What could be the primaries, exemplars or prototypes of the solar angels? It could be that the solar angels have monads. They do. But in this particular case, maybe this is the solar angels calling to the primaries or human monads to which they have been assigned. In other words, here comes an intervention. Here's the sons of mind, divine sons of mind, calling out to lesser sons of mind. In other words, well-developed monads, divine sons of mind, solar angels, returning nirvanis, who have come forth in the previous system saying, hey, you need some help, and calling to those monads who have only produced basically an animal man. Not a great initiate, but an animal man, is saying, I'll help you. So maybe when it says their primaries, that can be either their own monads, why would they need that, or the monads to whom they have been assigned, or with whom they have an affinity, or to whom they have become related. You know, our own solar angels are very related to us as monads. Why is that? Because, you know, it is their service to make sure that the true name of the monad on its own plane finally gets expressed in the lower worlds. So they are like midwives in a way. They are bringing to birth the true nature of the monad in the lower worlds. That's what they are specialized in doing. So, you know, if the word, sometimes the word primaries means high, sometimes low. Sometimes high, sometimes low. The word primaries, like we had that the other day, where we thought about the primary ray, the primordial ray. It was a lower thing. But now we're talking about this origin. The lower four, the higher three, and the cosmic fifth met at the great inbreathing. So that's rather interesting, and another sheath was formed. So somehow it's an inbreathing altogether, a synthesizing. An inbreathing is a synthesizing. Let's call it that. And inbreathing, if I can only spell, is a subjective synthesizing. They're being gathered up. If I be lifted up will draw all men unto me, or will draw these parts unto me. What does this mean to us? Because this is happily the last sentence in the stanza. What does this mean? What do we think? The what? The lower four, the higher three, and the cosmic fifth met at the great inbreathing. Another sheath was formed. Lower four of us, animal. Okay. Spiritual triad over three, and the cosmic fifth is, and the cosmic fifth is. You're almost there. You're almost there. Don't give up. You're almost there. Well, you know, the elemental lives, the four elements, the lower four, the lower four kingdoms, including well, the human kingdom doesn't really quite exist yet, does it? But here's one way to look at it. We have the dense physical nature, etheric nature, astral nature, lower mental nature shaping up. Lower four. One way of looking at it, right? Higher three, agreed, spiritual triad. The triads are ready. The higher and the lower triad are ready to approximate each other. But sometimes, remember, we talk about the triangle and the square. The triangle above the square. Sometimes we talk about two triads that are ready to approximate each other, and the space grew dark between them, remember, becoming the solar angels. So it was two triads. But now, the cosmic fifth, and we just discussed this, really. Who are the representatives? The solar angels are the representative of the cosmic fifth, being the fifth grade of hierarchy, breathed out from the heart of the sun, which is the egoic nature of the solar logos on the fifth plane. So now, man's higher triad, man's lower quaternary, excluding the personality because it really doesn't exist yet, but at least the four elements exist there, and especially four lower principles exist. The lives of the lower four planes and of the higher three were animated by the lives of the cosmic mental plane, these seven inspired by these cosmic mental lives, or the lower four principles, or vehicles, four vehicles, and the spiritual triad were united by the solar angels as representatives of the cosmic mental plane, the cosmic fifth. Or what does it call it here? Yep, the cosmic fifth, that's it. The mental plane, that's where they come from. Man is born, and what's this sheath? Another sheath is formed. The causal body. The causal body is formed. So, in review, I think that this is the time, let's just speak the whole stanza. It starts out with Om said the Mighty One, and it ends up with the formation of the causal body, doesn't it? Now, you could probably apply this thing not only to the formation of man, but to, there might even be a way to apply this to the formation of the causal body of the solar logos, who has a causal body, or of the planetary logos. You can use analogous methods and probably would be pretty accurate. But we are just trying to talk about the formation of man and the formation of our solar system and the development, the implications of the formation of our solar system on our planet, and then evolution on our planet, and the formation of man on our planet with his causal body. Another sheath was formed. And it's not yet the personal sheath, which is kind of interesting. The personality doesn't even really exist. I don't know if there's a personality ray. You know, let's just say that when man is first formed, he does have a mind. We know that. That's part of his formation. He has an emotional nature. He has a physical nature. Does he have a hidden personality ray? That's something that we need really to think about. He certainly doesn't have an emergent personality ray. Doesn't emerge for a long time. But who knows? I found references where it seems to imply that something called a personality ray in a very latent form could be found. So now, having studied very hard and been so very patient and endured the creation of the solar system over a period of 7 hours, you are entitled now to listen to the entire stanza. I know this is hard work. I really know this is hard work. It's not something that one would do by oneself, only if forced into it by one's own request. You know, everybody says, oh, goody, let's do the stanzas of Dzyan, not realizing that when you finish, it's like you're coming off of a battlefield. Well, I'll tell you the truth, I've been into this book for 40 years, at least. I think about 40 years, and I've always just run my eye very quickly over these stanzas. Just, oh yeah, they're there. Oh, you know. I just felt, because there's something, the law of repulse was at work. I just realized there's kind of more than you can bear, and you can never be certain about what you're doing. But at the same time, like I say, it's heuristic. It develops these capacities within you. And before you know it, maybe even the intuition will flow, you know? So it's worth the effort, even though it's exhausting. Okay. All right. Om said the Mighty One, and sounded forth the word. The sevenfold waves of matter resolved themselves, and varied forms appeared. Remember where? Not on the dense plains yet. Each took its place, each in the sphere ordained. They waited for the sacred flood to enter and to fill. The builders responded to the sacred sound. In musical collaboration they attended to the work. They built in many spheres, beginning with the third. Upon this plane their work commenced. They built the sheath of Atma and strung it to its primary. Om said the Mighty One, let the work proceed. Let the builders of the air continue with the plan. The Deva Lord and builders upon the plane of air worked with the forms within that sphere which is reckoned mainly theirs. They wrought for union, each in his group assigned. The molds grew fast beneath their hands. The sacred plane of juncture, the fourth great plane, became the sphere within the greater circle which marked the goal for man. Om said the Mighty One. He breathed forth to the fifth, the plane which is the burning ground, the meeting place for fire. This time a cosmic note is heard beneath the sound systemic. The fire within, the fire without, meet with the fire ascending. The guardians of the cosmic fire, the devas of phohatic heat, watched o'er the forms that formless stood, waiting a point in time. The builders of the lesser grade, devas who work with matter, wrought at the forms. They stood in fourfold order. There are 4 different types of devas on the etheric planes. Upon the threefold levels, in empty silence, stood the forms. They vibrated, they responded to the key, yet useless stood and uninhabited. Om, said the Mighty One, let the waters too bring forth. The builders of the watery sphere, the denizens of moisture, produced the forms that move within the kingdom of Varuna. They grew and multiplied. In constant flux they swayed. Each ebb of cosmic motion increased the endless flow. The ripple of the forms was seen. Om, said the Mighty One, let the builders deal with matter. The molten solidified. The solid forms were built. The crust cooled. The rocks congealed. The builders wrought in tumult to produce the forms of Maya. When the rocky strata were completed, the work stood in completion. The builders of the lowest grade announced the work was finished. Forth from the rocky strata emerged the covering. Next, the builders of the second agreed the work was done. The first and second on the upward way stood forth in fourfold form. The inner 5 was somewhat seen by those whose sight was keen. Om, said the Mighty One, and gathered in his breath. The spark within the peopling third impelled to further growth. The builders of the lowest forms, manipulating densest Maya, merged their production with the forms built by the watery ones. Matter and water merged, produced the third in time. Ascension thus progressed. The builders worked in union. They called the guardians of the fiery zone. Matter and water mixed with fire, the inner spark within the form. Were blended all together. The Mighty One looked down. The forms met his approval. Forth came the cry for further light. Again he gathered in the sound. He drew to higher levels the feeble spark of light. Another tone was heard, the sound of cosmic fire, hid in the sons of Manus. They called to their primaries. The lower 4, the higher 3, and the cosmic 5th met at the great inbreathing. Another sheath was formed. Okay. So what do you think? It helps sometimes to just read it straight. You get the whole sweep of the process, right? It just, we've been taking it apart, 5th rays, step by step, word by word, implications, all the rest of it. But then when you read it again, some of those thoughts stick, and they mean more. They mean more to us. Now, many, many things are left out. We know that. And, there can be big mistakes in the interpretation, of course. But we get the general idea. Creation. And it's done by the word. It's done by sound. And it's done in an orderly fashion. And everything that is thought in the mind of God eventually appears in the world of becoming and rises until the third phase, when the primaries send forth their energy. They help the watchers of the fire create the egoic lotus and the sheath, and then we're on the last phase of human evolution, and as far as that goes, the last phase of any type of evolution. In other words, planetary logos has a causal body, solar logos has a causal body. Maybe the formation of that causal body is exactly parallel to what's going on here. Maybe it doesn't happen until quite late in the day. Just imagine, well, you can go too far, but we have our cosmic planes and we have our systemic planes. What if we have an analogy to supercosmic planes and cosmic planes, and supercosmic planes and supercosmic planes, and so forth? What is this? What is involution on those levels? It's way beyond anything we can think of. And the mind boggles, But the great thing about Master DK is he gives us this huge picture, huge relative to our own state of consciousness. It's not a bad thing. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Yeah, well, we're looking at the outpourings. These are the three major outpourings, and that's what this one seems to be about. This is, an old theosophical thing from the year 1900. And, not that we have to look so carefully at everything. What is this? It is a creative trinity which is above the area of creation. Now, where exactly is it located? It's sort of like, I would think, that this would have to be located on the monad causal body and mental unit of the solar logos, that kind of creative trinity. Or the three persons of the logos. It could be that as well. What are the three persons of the logos? They're in a chart. You've seen the chart, and the chart shows us clearly where they, whoops, I think I've gone too far. Okay. This trinity can be considered the three logoi. There they are. Will, wisdom, and activity. Will, love, wisdom, and active intelligence. There they are. But I'll try to make this a little bit smaller so we see the proportion. These can be the three. Now that the whole chart we're looking at here, it doesn't just have to refer to our own solar system. This could refer to cosmic planes. This could refer to supercosmic planes. Always there is a threefold creator. It's Kabbalah. It's the tree of life. It's the three hovering above the seven. That's what we've got there. Exactly. The third always comes first. The third, because it builds the foundation. So the third aspect goes straight down and creates seven types of matter. Out of seven waves of matter, seven condensations of matter are created, which are the atoms of the seven planes. And then out comes the second outpouring, which starts to create molecular matter through elemental essence, and works that way all the way down to the bottom until the mineral kingdom is created. Yes, okay. Yes, only atomic matter is produced by the first outpouring. Produces molecular matter out of various combinations using the atomic matter. So there are 6 combinations for each of the subplanes. That's what's created. And I'm not exactly sure, but I have a feeling that there are, along the way, archetypal molds and forms created in the involutionary arc of the second outpouring, which have to be then actually embodied and manifested on the upward arc. I don't, have the complete arrangement in front of me, but let's just say it's the form building. It is the form building arc. So the prototypes have to be built. When are they built? I believe the prototypes are built on the downward arc, and then they are fulfilled on the upward arc. Now, what happens beyond here is the organization of the Buddhic vehicle and of the Atmic vehicle, the coordination, and the return to the monad according to the 4th and 6th initiation and so forth. There is not much that is given corresponding to firelight, corresponding to taste, corresponding to the earth. I suppose we can get into this in great detail. I never really have gotten into the form-building powers of the second outpouring on the descent. I've never really thought that through, nor have there been that many hints. We're given much more about the evolutionary arc. Mineral, vegetable, animal, all the variety, human in variety, 5th kingdom rising, 6th kingdom rising. We're given much more on the upward arc. But somehow prototypes that have to be matched on the upward arc, I think, are created on the downward arc. So there is a kind of creation of matter and molecules on the downward arc, and also the creation of archetypal forms. Okay, let's look at the astrology of this. The downward arc, the ordinary wheel is operative all the way on the upward arc until the emergence into the Buddhic plane. So let's just say that this is so much before the creation of man that we can't even speak of man's horoscope. We could only speak of the horoscope of the anima mundi, which he tells a little bit about, and which is actually going in the same direction counterclockwise. So we could speak of that. That would not be the ordinary wheel. But once man is individualized right here, and we stay there for millions of years, then the first thing to happen is that the ordinary wheel comes into existence, and for millions of years man is going backwards. And when he finally works his way out of the causal body, he's here for 20 million years, 25 million years. When he finally has his first initiation and becomes a true disciple, or even when he starts reaching for a higher power in the love petals of the egoic lotus, then the reversed wheel begins to turn against the ordinary wheel.
That's the way it's confusing, because he actually talks a lot about, the
Involution. Yeah.
moving along the ordinary way we tend to interpret the signs.
Yeah, but we shouldn't use the word ordinary. We should say the counterclockwise wheel. Yes, I don't know precisely what that means. I just know that when man became an individual, he had the power, in a way, to set himself against the current. In other words, he headed into separativeness, is what he basically was doing. Man's individualization made him a separate entity, and he moved towards that separativeness until he decided again to join the sense of wholeness as the higher power begins to influence him. So he's moving against the grain, becoming a separative being, but it's necessary at first. He becomes what would you say? He moves in a clockwise manner, establishing his own separate individuality and personality. And when that breaks, because he touches the higher power, he starts moving with the soul of the world again. So, and that's where we are right now. We're finished with our separative attitudes, and we're trying to move with the whole, according to the plan for the whole, and not just for the temporary welfare of our vehicles. All right. Now, that chart, it may be number 2. Let me just... let's see if it maybe someone knows. I don't know. A treatise on something here. Hold it. Chart 2. Is it chart 2? Yep, that's it. No, maybe not. Yep, that's it. Chart 2. That's chart 2. That's how our logos establishes its creation. So what have we studied here? We have studied the stanza. We have studied the map of the 3 outpourings, and we have studied in cosmic fire 7 types of soundings on 7 planes, beginning with A, then going to AU, then going to AUM, then going to a 7-fold word and the 35 stanzas and 42 verses and 49 chapters. Whatever page that was, 900 something, is it? I don't know if anybody remembers. So we put those different ideas together. And what has been the result or the harvest of studying this thing? What is the advantage of studying this particular stanza of Dzyan? Deep in the esoteric schools of Tibet, the truth is known to those who know. It is a deep creative process, isn't it? We've really studied creativity. We've studied the creative word, AUM. I cannot say that OM is the creative word. OM is a kind of word of liberation. But AUM is a word of manifestation. And that's basically what we've studied. Now, as we start rising around the curve of the second outpouring, the OM is going to get stronger. And as we continue, the O is going to take its place. And maybe on the higher planes, we will again hear the AU and the Ah and so forth when we return to the logoic plane. The initiate of the seventh degree has returned to the seventh plane and is sitting at the right hand of God, so to speak. In other words, sitting at the right hand of God, that must mean that God, Sanat Kumara, can use such a seventh initiate in order to carry out his will. Because, you know, the old saying, right-hand man, meaning carrying out in an executive manner that which is required. So after the ascension, Christ ascends and basically sits at the right hand of God. That's the seventh initiation. Eventually, maybe sounding the word of the Father, Ah, maybe. The great open Ah, full of potential. Anyway, we don't know the mantrams. The mantrams can create all this. We will know the mantrams. Slowly, slowly, little mantrams will be given to us, which will give us control over the forces of nature, slowly, slowly. And when we can be trusted, and when it's necessary, and when there's something to be done, we will know what we have to do. We'll learn how to work occultly. Right now, we just have to watch our speech. Well, he says, you know, it's the great creative agent, so you're going to, you know, if you speak idle words, selfish words, and cruel, hateful words, you're going to create a prison and poison all the springs of life and cause disaster and delay. So we can at least begin working with speech, and then eventually we'll reach this tremendous kind of expression and be able to be true magical creators. So is there any value in studying this? You know, I was kind of shocked because I had somehow forgotten that I promised that we would do these stanzas. About 1 week ago, I realized it when I read a letter from Martha, reminding me, not that she knew that I had forgotten, but maybe it was a week and a half ago, whatever it was. It says it'll be great to study the stanzas. And I said, okay, it would be great to study the stanzas. I forget who had written. Maybe it was Anne. Maybe it was Martha. Anyway, so, you know, in the middle of all kinds of other things which were extremely mundane, I had to begin to try to think about these stanzas. I'm glad I was forced into it. I feel I've covered about 5% of potential in these things, but at least it's a start. So I've been working, you know, on these nights and the midnight hours and whatever. I've finished most of them in terms of getting a basis, but it's obvious that we're not going to finish all of these stanzas this time. But there should be enough with this way of thinking. For instance, I will send you everything I've written. So if you want to restudy in some way some of them from a different perspective than the one you used before, then you can do that too. Yes. Yes, you did. Yes, and when I first started making commentary on Cosmic Fire in 2005, I did commentary on the first 3 stanzas. And they were so abstruse that I forgot that I did all but one of them. I remembered I had done commentary on the first, and I forgot completely about second and third, so I'm glad I had to revisit it. Because I thought to myself, oh, I'll do this for everybody, and I realized how difficult it was, and then conveniently forgot to do the rest. Which is, you know, it's nice to be forced to do the rest. Now, okay, I'm kind of just trying to lighten the load because I know the pressure involved in doing these things. We have another hour left. And I do want to, you know, hear from you about what you think you may have learned today. I do want to hear that. And also, I want to give the folks a chance here who are electronically present to say something if they wish to. As I said to all of you electronically present people, that this is not really a full-fledged webinar. This is more, you are attending this class electronically. But when we just do a webinar together, then we'll have a lot more interactivity as we do when we have our faculty webinars. We do a lot of talking between ourselves. So let's just see if there's something really short. There was, there's some things that are really short, but they, let's see, a stanza, forget number 10, that's huge. Stanza 11. The wheel turns the outer front of the fire hardeneth the forms. I don't think I did that one. Oh, that's good. That's a good one. Oh, that's good. But I didn't do it. Oh, yes. Okay. Ah, yes, that's short. Number 12, stanza number 12 is short. Okay. I remember seeing a movie with Albert Finney, and he was playing King Lear, so he was marvelous King Lear. It was about a touring company during the war in England, and somehow it was very tough during the war to be a dramatic touring company. So he needed a new Cordelia every once in a while. King Lear has 3 daughters. 2 of them hate him, and 1 of them loves him, but he doesn't know it. But anyway, he had to audition Cordelia. The only way he did it was how heavy she was. Could he lift her and walk 5 feet? This was his method of auditioning Cordelia. So I was just saying, is it short? Okay. All right, let's just see. The blessed ones. Now, who are the blessed ones? After all, who are the blessed ones? When you hear the word blessed one, what does it mean to you? You find them in Esoteric Psychology Volume 2, don't you? The blessed ones are running around page 35 or 6 or somewhere like that, right? It's a marvelous section. And you learn that the blessed ones are really monads. So he gives you monadic psychology and esoteric psychology too. He actually tells you that there are rays to the monads, and here's how they work, all 7 rays. The blessed ones are the monads that go forth as jivas. They rise again, realize they are monads, and they go beyond the solar angel, and there they exist in their monadic ray. So there's monadic psychology and esoteric psychology too. Right in the beginning when you don't expect it. You don't even know what you're reading. You're reading about the angel who is the shadow of the blessed one. So who then is the blessed one? All right. The blessed ones hide their threefold nature. What is that? The blessed ones are considered to be monads, or as jivas which emanate from the monad and pass through the experiences of the 5 lower worlds. Do they have a threefold lower nature? A threefold nature, the blessed ones? They do, don't they? As we can see from chart number 8, these blessed ones have a threefold nature, and it is called will, wisdom, and activity, isn't it? Here's a monad. It has a threefold nature, will, wisdom, and activity. And do we see that nature of the... Oh, it's so interesting. Oh, it's really interesting. Look at this. Look at, I want you, the blessed ones hide their threefold nature, okay? Now, I'm going to just turn to the blessed one section, just for a little dip into this. We're going to see flies like arrow. There it is. Okay. The blessed one flies like an arrow into matter, first ray monads, blah, 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 blah. He tells them what you have to do. Adherence to the rhythm of the planet will release the hidden blessed one and order bring. This is fascinating for the first ray monad. There's not too many of them. Remember, they stayed up in the high heavens because it was not karmically right for them to come in. Hiding. They're hiding. Okay. What about number 2? He built himself an ark, and you couldn't see anything. You could hear something. So build an ark that gives you light. And look at this. The power to build anew, the right use of the word, and the using of the light, these will release the blessed one deep hidden in the ark. Hidden again, right? We just had that word hidden, didn't we? Okay, now let's look at monad number 3. No, these are our monads. These are us. These are us. Us as monads. So if you want to study what you are as a monad, study the blessed ones. Yes. The blessed one gathered force. He hid himself behind a veil. He rolled himself within that veil and deeply hid his face, not to be seen but that which veiled in active motion, etc., etc. So finally, the blessed one is going to be revealed at the end. So what I'm trying to say is that the stanzas and the old commentary that deal with the Blessed One are all about him hiding at first. So when we read in this particular stanza, the Blessed Ones hide their threefold nature. There it is. It's exactly so. These Blessed Ones are monads. And they hide their nature, and you don't know who you are. As a matter of fact, it's an X factor. DK says, hey, it's not yet for you to know your ray. Well, what does he mean? Your monadic ray. It's not yet for you to know your monadic ray because it is hidden. They can see it. They know all the hints. They know, exactly what you have. But we don't. It's hidden. Yeah. Okay. Okay, just a little bit more, because this is a short one, a mercifully short one. So, part of the monad is hidden during the expression of the monad through its vehicles in the 5 lower worlds. As a matter of fact, it even hides behind 3 petals, doesn't it? The monad projects itself into the lower worlds. This vehicle is being formed by the monad and by the solar angels. And where does the monad hide itself? It becomes the inner fire right behind the 3 Buddhic petals, hiding again. The first ray is very hidden, very latent, only emerging very much later. Okay, and that's our first ray aspect. All right, now, but reveal their triple essence by means of 3 great groups of atoms. What do you suppose? 3 great groups of atoms? How do they reveal their triple will, wisdom, and activity? The monads. 3 great groups of atoms. What could they be? Again, chart 8. Just take a look at where the monad goes. Chart 8, page 817. Three great groups of atoms reveal the triple essence of the monad. Right? Okay, here's the chart. Just take a look at what you've got. What does will do? What does wisdom do? What does activity do? What's their first line? Take a look. What's the first line? Bang. Another. Another. 3 great groups of atoms. Namely, the higher permanent atoms in their groups. That's how the Blessed Ones reveal themselves, through 3 great groups of atoms, of permanent atoms on the triadal levels. That's how they do it. So in other words, you may not know what your monad is doing, but if you look at your triad, you get the hint. Because the rays of the triad are 2. One ray stays permanent, and the other rays change. The one ray is the ray of the monad, and it's found at every permanent atom. Now, I don't want to get too complex about this, but we're right now talking about 7 Blessed Ones. There is nothing in the literature which tells us about the 3 super Blessed Ones, which I hypothesize as being on the logoic plane and be representatives of the 3 persons of the Trinity. And I think that every one of us is a member either of Shiva, Vishnu, or Brahma on the logoic plane. That our volatile spark or volatile essence is a member of one of those 3, right on the highest plane. So we're talking about the 7 Blessed Ones. All right, let's go on. The spirit is the monad, to me, and the 7 rays are part of the cosmic septonate which condition the particular vehicle in which the monad is found. I will never say that a ray conditions the monad itself, because the monad is pure being and it's beyond the septonate. So the point within the triangle is not susceptible to being a ray. In other words, pure being is beyond any qualification. But the various atmospheres and vehicles carried by that spark as it rises or ascends or whatever, that can be qualified by a ray, and thus you would have a first to seventh ray monad or a first, second, and third ray monad. That little spark is always going to have a vehicle until the universe itself becomes its vehicle. And all monads or all stones are withdrawn into one. So spirit and monad are equivalent terms. The spirit is the spark of pure being. It cannot be qualified by a ray. Only the vehicle through which it expresses can be qualified through a ray. Does that make sense? In other words, pure being is being. Being is being. That's it. In other words, it's white. It's white, and it hasn't been refracted through a prism. It's just white. Everybody's white. In other words, you are the synthesis of all qualities so that there's no quality at all. You're finally, as pure being, you just are. All of us, everyone, we share one factor, we just are. But now what about quality? That white light goes through the prism. And then we start differentiating in terms of various functions. But the inner, you see, in other words, take a look at this. Take a look at this. I think there's something missing here in this diagram. What I say or think is that right there in the middle, you want to call it a point of blue or a point of something, a point of pure being, which I call the volatile essence. And it is trapped right now in a monadic vehicle on some subplane here, and it will be liberated into the sea of fire. But when it's liberated, it doesn't remain as pure being. It still takes to itself another ring pass knot, and it continues with increasing ring pass knots. And it has a certain quality that it carries with it on its journey. The only time when it becomes absolutely pure being is at the day be with us, when there is a complete reabsorption of pure being into the one monad of the whole universe, which is the universal logos. And that's when pure being exists. But then, even then, no, something else is wrong. Something else is missing. Even then, there still is a universe. There still is a reflection. There still is a ring pass knot. The universe is created by self-perception, in my view, and the universal logos has to stop looking at himself, as it were, as in a mirror, and when he stops looking at himself and withdraws deeply into himself, that's the day be with us. The universe disappears, and the universal logos, as the aspect of the one absolute, is retracted into the absolute, and then pure being exists, and only then. But that little spark comes from the absolute, and it has no quality except itself. So you can't call it one of seven rays. You can only say that the spark within its latest ring pass knot has a ray. That you can say. Okay, it's a deep point, and we'd have to examine the matter. I don't want to get too trapped on it. I'm going to discuss the rays in the book Esoteric Astrology. Now we're talking to spirit. Yes, that's fine. That's fine. And the triad, as the expression of the spirit, has a ray, and the monad, with its own vehicle, on the monadic plane, has a ray, and maybe even when it goes to the logoic plane, it has a ray. But what I'm trying to say is, and this is the simple part, pure being has no ray, which is like saying pure being has no specific quality which differentiates it from every other unit of pure being. Pure being is identical everywhere in cosmos. That's what I'm saying. I'm looking at homogeneity, sameness, non-differentiation, blotting out all form. Rule number 9, right? How does it go? Let the group know there are no other selves. Let the group know there is no color, only light. And then let darkness take the place of light, hiding all difference, blotting out all form. Non-differentiation, the absolute foundation of being, non-differentiated being. And in the heart and soul of each one of us, we are the same, regardless of apparent differences. Now that, it takes a long time to be the same, or to realize that one is the same. As a matter of fact, what was it in the Greek philosophy that there was it said, what you have to know is the difference between same and other. Something of that nature. My whole last 20 years has been the search for same. But it led me into having to deal with complex differentiation on the way to the search for same. And what I hope is to hold same and other simultaneously in my consciousness.
If you split the spirit into three, you can then say that the third aspect of spirit is more closely allied to the second.
What I say the third aspect of spirit is more, I would say it's always the second aspect that's related to the rays, and the third aspect that's related to astrology. And as far as the first aspect goes, they call them the spirits of darkness. The Ray Lords are the second aspect, and the sons of Fohat are the third aspect. But each one of us has to somehow find within our consciousness the sense of same. In other words, you have to be able to look at anybody, anything, any place, any condition, and in every direction see nothing but same. Now that's an inner thing. You've got to find your own way into that. Because it's real easy to see difference, and difference leads you into illusion. But that's a great struggle to resolve. That was the word that was used, wasn't it? To resolve the wave into the concretion, or to do it the opposite way, to resolve the concretion into that which is not the concretion, the sameness. I will call it the search for homogeneity. Now people say, well, why bother? If it's all the same, why bother anything? Well, that gets into the great philosophical question, why should there be a universe, and the idea, what it is, it's on the third ray. You have to solve the contrast between the one and the many. Let the soul realize the one and the many, and let the word go forth with perfect understanding. I am the worker in the work, the one that is. That's the third stanza for the third ray. Okay, anyway, it's a philosophical question. You're a philosopher, so naturally, one ponders on this, right? But reveal their triple essence by means of three great groups of atoms, three great groups of permanent atoms on the triadal levels. Every monad works through them. The essence of the monad, a triple essence, works through these three types of atoms, but there's the essential essence of the monad, which is pure beings. Three are the atoms within the spiritual triad, and threefold the radiation. Now, this is really interesting. Three are the atoms, yes, and threefold the radiation of each atom. So again, turning to page 177 of Cosmic Fire, we see the three atoms and their threefold radiation. And you've seen this many times. Here it is. Three are the atoms and threefold the radiation. An atmic, buddhic, and monastic radiation for each one of the atoms, making the 9 of the spiritual triad. Okay. And threefold the radiation. I'm so glad this is short. Oh, another computer protest. Okay. Imagine having to wait for the turning blue circle. There must be something very deep in that, Okay, we're almost finished. I mean, we're really almost finished. Some of us are really finished. All right, come on. I'm trying to make a point here. This is, one could learn a lesson from this if one was of a mind to. All right. Can you believe it? I think, you said, look, enough, Michael, enough. Enough. Sorry, can't. Now. I mean, now. Isn't it interesting how you sometimes say to people, now? There's a great lesson in that, isn't there? Somehow. I really can't understand this. I'm having a great problem. Am I going to be forced to read from a book or what? Or will someone read the next? And okay, and the threefold radiation. Well, we finally got there. That was nice. The inner core of fire hides itself and is only known through radiation and that which radiates. Here we're dealing kind of with the jewel in the lotus, or the monad as a jewel. And look at Rule 13. In terms of that which radiates, 4 things the disciple must learn and comprehend before he can be shewn the inmost mystery. First, the laws of that which radiates. That's the monadic laws. Then, the 5 meanings of magnetization on the soul make the second, transmutation, etc. The laws of that which radiates. So, there's the monad hides itself, and the most occult and obscure and unknown purpose of Sanat Kumara is his first purpose, and only he knows it. The unknown, unseen purpose of Sanat Kumara, which only he knows. The first ray hides itself. Okay, we're almost done. I have to kind of hold your hand on this one. So the applicant is learning the radiation of the monad. The next thing he's learning concerns the fivefold soul. Only after the blaze dies out and the heat is no, and the heat? Only, oh no. Someone read this, will you? Someone read this to me.
Only after the blaze dies out and the heat is no longer felt can the fire be known.
Okay, isn't that beautiful? Only after the blaze dies out and the heat is no longer felt can the fire be known. What's going on here? What is the blaze? What is the fire? What is the heat? I'm having computer protest. I'm going to have to get a very powerful computer which can move faster than I can. Oh, only after the blaze dies out. 4th initiation, right? The blaze, the conflagration, the supernova, and the heat of the rapidly turning permanent atoms and the great fiery display of light and heat dies out. Can the fire be known? Out across the desert, across the seas, out of the desert, over the seas, and into the fire. This is one of the rules. That's how you have to move. Through the triadal planes, into Atma, into the monad, into the fire.
It says fivefold soul. What are those 5 points?
Fivefold soul, or sixfold, or threefold, depends on how you count. Okay, fivefold soul to me. Jewel in the lotus, synthesis petals, sacrifice petals, love petals, and knowledge petals, related to the 3 permanent atoms. You can do sixfold, or I can do fivefold this way. The central jewel and the 3 are 1. Then come each one of the tiers, sacrifice, love, and knowledge, and then the 3 permanent atoms considered as a group. Or you can count it in other ways as well. You can count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can count each one of the permanent atoms, or the mental unit, and you can count 5 groups of petals. So that's 3, 4 groups of petals and the jewel. So that's 3, 4, and 1 is 8. You can also count 1 jewel, 3 synthesis petals. So 1 plus 12 is 13, plus 3 is 16. Perfect. Throat center. See? Now you've got your jewel, and then you've got each one of these petals. You've got 12 petals. 1 jewel, 12 petals, that's 13, plus 3 is 16. 1 and 6 is 7 is the throat center. In the creative center. The soul is a creative center. You can also do this. 7 facets. 3 synthesizing petals, that's a 10. Plus 9 is 19. Plus 3 is 22. Now you've got your 22, and the ego counts as 22, which is a perfect reflection of the Solar Logos, which it is. So there's lots of ways to enumerate, to count your egoic lotus. Okay? Only after the blaze dies out and the heat is no longer felt can the fire be known. What is the fire? Should be capital F, capital I, R, E, etc. What is the fire? How about the monad? How about that? You know what I mean? How about that? Only after the blaze of the destruction of the causal body dies out and that heat demonstration of the conflagration is over can the central fire be truly known, which is the fire of the monad, or, coming back to the beginning, the fire of the Blessed One. So listen, if you want to have a beautiful read, open Esoteric Psychology 2 and read about the Blessed Ones, which you probably read 10 times without realizing that it's all about the monad. Okay, that's it. That was the stanza. That's it. Isn't that nice? Not 7 hours, but 15 minutes. Perfect. Okay, now I will ask you that question, which seems to be so necessary to cause annoyance at the end of the day. What did you learn on day 3? Okay. Listen, I know how it goes, but don't forget, in your groups, when you get together for your study groups, review some of this stuff, because there's a lot of ideas being thrown out here that probably did not occur in your study group and needs reflection. It just depends on how much second ray you can stand. Remember, there are 3 types of second ray, and this is not the place where everybody's loving each other to death. That's nice too, but that's the pure second ray. This is the occultism of the second ray. That's what we're doing here. We're not even doing the wisdom of the Buddha, which would be nice too. The 3 types of second ray. We're dealing with the 3rd type of second ray that Master DK has presented us with, specialized detail. How much can you stand? Anyway, when we get together like this, it's an intensive, of course. And you should go home overloaded. Okay, what did we learn today? Right. Solar planes. Are you leaving, or are you just cold? No. Gisela's going before we've had a chance to sing. Well, thank you for coming, and may all your planes be cosmic. Merry Christmas to you, too. We'll let you know whether we're going to have a class. In regards from Tuya. Okay, Written in the Stars. Okay, bye. It's so sad to see him go. The musical opportunity is lost. Okay, 2 words for the cosmic physical planes, solar planes and systemic planes. Very good, we got that. What else? Wait a second. I want to make something bigger. I'm sorry. I want to make this bigger because it's hard to see. Okay, what else? A reflection. Are you saying the egoic lotus as a reflection of the solar logos? Heart of the sun. Heart of the sun is the egoic lotus or causal body of the solar logos. But really, the subjective sun, and really a state of consciousness. Really. Okay, what else? Did we learn today anything worth retaining? Okay, a lot which has been forgotten. And you wonder, and you kind of wonder why you forget your past lives, We've just been studying for a few hours, and we can't remember what we did in the morning. All right. What else? Anything? I know we've done some other things. I'm having a bit of trouble myself. But remember, we did 2 stanzas. Yes. Secret of, yeah, we started right away with that, didn't we? Secret of why some of the monads refused to. Okay. Was it sin? No. They were following the law of their being. That's interesting. It was not sin necessarily. And remember what we said too, that if a monad is not going to incarnate, how can the solar angel who's supposed to help it incarnate? Okay? If a monad does not incarnate, the solar angel who is assigned, how, to the monad cannot incarnate. So there's those 30 billion watchers of the flame associated probably with first-ray monads hanging out because they can't come in because of the law of their being and the law of the solar system. And of course, the stories of mythology, they point the finger and they blame the solar angels. The solar angels get blamed for a lot, you know. They've even been called, instead of being Suryas, they've been called Asuras, which means like demons or something. Those who are not sun-like. Everything gets reversed down here. They are the most sun-like of all the beings near us, and they're called not sun-like. Isn't that interesting? It just shows you what, man-made religion can do. Asuras are really Suryas, or sun-like beings. And, you sometimes look for the names of the Rajadeva lords of the higher planes. We have Kashiti on the physical, Varuna on the astral. We have a type of Agni on the mental. We have Indra. And then you kind of look, what are the other names of the Rajadeva lords on the three higher planes? And I have a feeling that Brahma, you could call for the Atmic plane, and you could call Surya Vishnu for the monadic plane, and Shiva for the Shiva can be considered a Rajadeva lord as well. I don't know if those are actually the names, but you get the idea that that's the Brahmic, Suryic, and Shivic planes. 3, 2, 1. Okay, what else? Realization is on the 5th subplane of the Atmic plane. And I'm just going to turn to that thing because it's worth just seeing it again, okay? 188. And here our microcosmic sensory evolution. And there we go to the Atmic plane, and there it is. Realization on the 5th subplane counting down. Now, we did spend a long time with this. Of course, look, we studied this 3 years ago. Something, 2.5, 3 years ago, something of that nature. But unless one uses it, it just fades away, So that's why memorization is so important. You've got to pound certain things into your head and your heart so they become so much a part of you that you really can't escape them. Then you've built a structure and you can't fall down anymore, you see. You have a scaffolding that holds you up. One day the scaffolding goes too, but for the moment we're a bit like a noodle, you know what I mean? Esoterically, we're a bit noodle-like, and we need to be held up. So memorization is a great way to do that if we memorize the right things. Okay, on to the next. Oh, I thought I was going to be able to write something here. Aha, I got it. All right. What else? Yes. Right. Okay. Our place of work and goal is the Buddhic plane. We're heading for the Buddhic plane. Get your tickets to the Buddhic plane. 9 and 4 and 4. 17, 8. There, on the table of creative hierarchies, there's different ways to count, aren't there? You count from the top down, you count from the bottom up, and you count from the place where the manifested hierarchies start as well. Well, anyway, not to get into that, but each plane has different numbers, all of which reveal something very important. Yes. Okay, what else? Chakras. Oh, that's right, our monadic power. In other words, there is a phohatic aspect to every monad. It's the activity aspect, will, wisdom, and activity. That activity aspect drives down onto the atmic, buddhic, monastic, etc., plane and produces 35 vortices which make a master. Now, I even have a feeling that there are ultimately 49 vortices of force. They obviously can't come from the monad as it is because there's only room for 42. But I think the 35 vortices of force, we're told, makes the master. I will say 49 vortices of force makes the Chohan. No, 42. 49 vortices of force makes the Chohan of the 7th degree like the Christ, the perfect 7. But, DK is interesting because he doesn't show those chakras. He doesn't show the chakras on the higher part of the mental plane. When the solar angel goes away, there will be chakras on that level. That's my intuition on it. There will be Buddhic chakras, Atmic chakras, and a master, and they will correspond to the kinds of powers that those type of initiates have. You can always do something through a chakra, DK shows us that. You direct the energy of the chakra. Even in esoteric healing, it has its own power. Okay, what else? It's like Om. It's like Amen. Amen. Yes, we are not to use it. We are not to use Amen. He says, don't use Amen. He says it has the effect of a wind pinning you against the wall. It's related to matter. AUM related to the 3rd aspect and the atmic plane. Om to the 2nd aspect. It depends on what we want to do, of course. When God was creating the solar system, he needed AUM. Right? But then there's a difference, and I really have to study this again, between AUM and M. One is more separative, one is more unitive. And actually, what DK does is he actually makes a figure out of it. You've seen that in the rays and the initiations. He actually makes a flower out of the A, U, and M. Anything else? Yes. Okay. A good choir knows about group work. Yes, and I'll tell you what, when you're not singing in tune, it's kind of unpleasant, The people next to you that kind of look at you when you're not singing in tune. You really have to, what's so important, when you're singing, you've got to listen to the other person and blend with them. And that's such a discipline, isn't it? So a good choir is all about group work. It's about harmony in the group. Harmony in the group. Yes, how many of you have sung in choirs? The good ones. Have you sung in a good choir? I mean, a good choir that makes a good sound. You know what it is? You're like many are as one. Is it not so? When it's a good choir. And you don't even have to be singing in unison. You can be singing in parts. 4 parts, 5 parts, 6 parts. There was an Italian composer, not very famous, but somehow very unique, who wrote a choir and orchestra piece for over 40 independent parts. 40 different independent parts being sung by 40 different individuals, not repeating the same notes. No wonder it's not performed very much. But recently on YouTube, there was a performance. It was amazing. He was from the Italian Renaissance, and there are these obscure people who do interesting things. So anyway, over 40 parts. But we need to learn how to sing together. And we talked about singing and recitative, didn't we? And we talked about what it would be like if instead of talking, we actually were able to attune to each other and sing our thoughts. I mean, not now, of course. But remember what DK says about how you will produce children in the future. Yes, a couple of people will get together and unite their throat centers harmoniously. It's called necking. What's it? Yes, yes, yes. Yes, the child will just materialize in front of your eyes. That's what it'll be. I'll tell you what, if you sing out of tune, Mother, you sang out of tune, I just know it. You know? Yes, that's what the blame game. You know, it's my mother's fault. It's my father's fault. You know, if only you could have carried a tune instead of carrying a baby. Anyway, carrying a tune. You know. Anyway, that day will come. You know, as things move up. But don't forget, 2/3 of the people have to be on the path before the sacral center starts to kind of quiet down a bit, and then the throat center will receive its due stimulation. How interesting. Life will be very interesting, won't it? Really. You'll have to watch what you say, right? Anything else? Pretty soon, I think what I better do is maybe, if you have anything else, anything, I can ask the electronic group if they finally can be allowed to say something, you know, if they wish. Okay. All right. So, look, you survived another day, didn't you? Well, yes, that's right. It's true you didn't really survive it, but you're to the point where you can kind of lie a little bit and say you did. That kind of thing. Yes, that after 5 o'clock, you know, the death knell of thought sounded. Well, you know, in the new esoteric schools, there will be a certain rhythm in terms of study and exercise and all that, but we live in very difficult times, when it's hard to get together and to afford to get together and to travel. And, you know, our lives demand that we work so often. And so naturally, we're under sort of intensive pressure at this time. Remember, Master D.K. says, don't live an ordinary life. He says, basically, don't eat candy and don't go to the movies. I can find the quote. I mean, it's something like that. He says, you know, the billions of dollars that are spent on candy and ordinary entertainment and blah, blah, blah. He says you just can't do that now. So getting together like this for an intensive is not a bad thing in the eyes of the soul, even though the personality is screaming, you know. All right. Something screaming. The bottom is screaming, you know. What do they say? I forget that old saying about how the mind can only absorb as much as the bottom can stand. Something like that. It has to do with sitting on hard chairs. Okay, hi, friends. Here we are. Now, I'm going to kind of, you know, many of you may not be present. Listen, I don't have to talk to you about that. I know what the score is there. But the nice thing is you can hide behind your computer when you're on one of these webinars. So, wait, I'm taking this off now so I can talk to the computer. And we'll see if anybody's there. Usually one person has been there. That's been Elena. But we cannot necessarily count on Elena to hold the fort every day, can we? Maybe someone else will be there. Okay, so we'll just check. Now, I remember, you know, that in Australia, it's, what time is it in Australia? Just add 9 hours. Oh, it's 4 in the morning. Andrew? Okay, hi, Andrew, are you there? Probably not, but I appreciate your letter. Thank you. Ann Summer, are you there? Now you can say something. Let's test it. You can speak to your computer. Okay, but I don't hear you in that way. All right, but thank you for being here. Asha, are you here? I think it's Canada, is it? Are you there? Oh, you are. You're there. Okay. Just speak nice and loud, will you?
Thank you so much. This is so amazing to learn, and all the little comments you make.
Yeah.
Just
some are jokes, you know. I appreciate your presence. Where are you living, Asha?
Actually, I just bought another place in New Jersey now, so I'll have 2 homes, New Jersey.
New Jersey. Okay. Asha was at the Dalai Lama's get-together. There's so many people from the United States that came to Washington. So, look, I appreciate your presence. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Asha. Celeste in New York, are you there, Celeste? Okay, Celeste is actually a singer. She really, teaches music and, really knows a lot about music. So, all right, but she's in New York, and she may have to work for a living. It can happen. All right, Ed, are you there out in California? Are you there, Ed? It's been a long time we've seen each other. Okay, and longer since we've heard. All right, let's see who else. Oh, let's try. Elena? Are you there? Elena? Hello? Elena, can you speak up nice and strong? Are you there, Elena? I'll come back to Elena. She's surely present, And Elena has a voice you can hear. Okay, Gabriel, are you there? All right. Well, they'll get the uncensored version, Glenda in California, are you there? Hello, Glenda? Is there something wrong with how I'm talking? Hello, Glenda? Not there. Okay. We go to Finland. Irmeli, are you there? Are you there, Irmeli?
I'm here.
Oh, Irmeli's there. Well, you're
Yes,
the first.
I am here.
You're one
But
person.
I don't venture to say anything.
You don't venture to say
Thank you
anything.
so much.
Thank you. You can be heard. Isn't that marvelous? Not
There
everybody.
has been so much. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well, any comments you have about what you learned today, I'm willing to hear. And the group is so happy to hear from you, and they are delaying their supper just to find out. And for this group to delay their supper, let me tell you, that's a
Another time.
Okay, well, I'm glad you were with us, and thank you for your presence.
See you soon.
See you soon. See you soon next week. Bye.
See you.
Bye-bye. Jane, are you there? Jane McIntyre?
Yes.
Oh, hello. You're a new applicant, aren't you? Or you're newly joined the school?
Yeah.
Yes. Very good. Jane, is there anything you would like to ask or to say?
No.
Okay, I'm listening.
Hello?
Yes, here.
I've just learnt how much I don't know.
Ah, yes. Well, all we all have to do is read Master DK's Cosmic Fire, and it's a little bit proportional, We learned that. It's a little daunting. That's why I say, that's why not too many people get immediately into the stanzas of Dzyan. We're very grateful to Blavatsky because she explained those other stanzas of Dzyan so well. But Master DK just kind of didn't comment on these, and he left them to us. But in a way, his whole book is the commentary, in a way. Where are you, Jane? What country?
I'm in the UK, in England.
UK. Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right. Okay, we have a couple of UK people here. I think I said so yesterday. All right. Nice to talk to you. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
You bet. Okay, Jocelyn in Toronto, are you here?
Hello, Michael. I'm here.
Oh, wow, and you're coming through loud and clear.
Hi. Oh, great.
Okay, fantastic. Anything?
Michael.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, this is my first time studying these stanzas, and I think they are absolutely majestic.
Yes.
And I wish I understood more.
I think we all wish we understood more, but you're correct. One of our members was commenting on the beauty, and the way the Tibetan has chosen his language. He's a real poet, Obviously, they weren't written out in this way. They were written in this way. So they have a fantastic majesty to them, I agree. Yes.
So I look forward to receiving your notes after this class so that I can continue the study.
Very good. Okay. Well, the notes are in some kind of order, but, obviously the more I read them, the more I realize them filled out. But I will send them to everybody. So thank you, Jocelyn. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Michael. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Okay, Johanna. Johanna, are you there? Okay. Maybe not. There's an exclamation point. Linda, are you there?
Hello, yes, I'm here.
Oh, you're coming from
thank you once again.
Okay, glad you were with us. Is there any thought that you want to express or any question you have?
no, but I'm grateful for you reading the passages as you do. It makes reading the book much easier.
Good, good. I mean, yes, I think there's something to be said about simply, reading the stanzas as they are, maybe first and maybe last, after we take them apart, do the best we can with them. Anyway, there are, we haven't even really attacked yet the really difficult stanzas. We'll see what we can do with that. Anyway, thank you, Linda, for being with us.
And thank you.
You bet. Okay. Maribel, are you there in Colorado? Maribel, are you there? Okay, maybe not. Maybe not. Okay, Sergio, are you there?
Hi, Michael. Yes, I am.
Oh, hi, Sergio. Nice to hear from you.
Hi.
Are you
nice to meet you as well.
Okay, good. Are you in Florida, or where is it?
Yes, I'm in Miami, Florida.
Okay, very good. It's great. Here we are in Denmark, and it's nice to hear from people all over the world. Do you have any questions or comments you would like to make?
Well, I think my comment is simply that I enjoyed participating and seeing the presentation and watching the discussion of the stanzas.
Okay.
Like some of the others, this is all very new, and it's going to take, I think, a little bit of time and effort to really be able to delve into this.
I think it's so
wonderful material.
It's great.
And a very wonderful interpretation as well. Very helpful.
Okay, well, thank you. I'm glad it was useful to you. I mean, really, we all know that this is about the most difficult stuff that DK presented to us. In many ways, it is. So, in a way, we're starting at the end, But we'll have to keep coming back to these stanzas, and we will do that. So, appreciation for your presence. Thank you, Sergio. And look forward to starting, into the next part of the school. So, as I wrote you.
Thank you.
Very good. Okay, looks like Sheldon and Helena may be here. Are you there, Sheldon?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Sheldon. Okay. Remember Sheldon?
Well,
yes. Okay. Go ahead.
Michael, I just tuned in. I tuned in for the summary, so
just for the summary. Okay.
Just the summary, but I must say, just hearing some of the ideas that the group is talking about, I know I'm easily inspired, but I was inspired again. So I just want to thank everyone and thank you for your humor. I must say, it's growing.
It's the only way you can survive. Anyway, yes, it's deep stuff, and this is the only Cosmic Fire group that's actually done this. So maybe we'll have to think about whether we should get our group together again to look more deeply into these stanzas. I'm glad you were able to be with us, and I look forward to speaking to you about a number of things. So thank you.
Good.
Thank you for being here, Sheldon. I'll send you the links. The other links have been sent to you, and they give you the gist of the last 2 days. Okay. And let's see, Vadna, are you here in Mexico? Are you here, Sue? Are you here? Hello, are you there, Vadna Sue? Well, anyway, hi, and glad you could be with us. Vadna's from San Miguel de Allende, Mexico. And now we have our staff. Brett, you may be asleep, I'm not sure. Are you there, Brett? No, maybe Brett is awake. Okay, whatever. Now
Hi there.
Hey, there you are. Okay.
I'm just waking up.
Oh, good morning. Good morning. And
Good morning.
And I hope everything recorded properly. Brett is our technical expert on many of these matters. So, well, anyway, we have finished 2 more stanzas, never to be revisited because we've said everything one can say. And there are 7 more stanzas and 2 days. Somehow we will manage. Anyway, so you're just coming to it right now, Brett. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, thanks for your support. Brett is recording these on his end. So, in other words, he's backing up the whole screen in case we should have a failure here. So, we're double checked in this Mercury retrograde time. Thank you, Brett, for everything. And let's see, Tuya, are you there? Hello, Tuya. Wife, are you there? Hello.
Don't you hear me?
Are you there, Tuya?
I am here.
Okay.
Do you hear me?
Yes, hear you. And
I
make
had my headphones.
Yes.
I had my headphones and you didn't hear me at all.
Yes, that's right. We're hearing you a little better now, but make sure you speak up as quite as strongly as you can.
I don't know where is the mic in my map.
It doesn't make a difference.
So
now you are heard. You are heard. You are really heard.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I'm shouting here.
That's perfect. So what would you like to say?
So there has been a lot of technical problems, and I have been in and out also, so I have not been able today follow so much than earlier days.
Keep talking
and
loud.
I'm regretting because this has been so interesting. Few things what I was thinking in the morning. You were talking about AUM.
AUM.
And,
Talk loud.
You don't hear me?
Now I hear you.
Okay. So you were talking about AUM.
Yes.
And said that it should be pronounced Om. But I think in relationship when the word or the thought is manifesting via the sound, it should be AUM, as you remember how we were.
Yes, I do remember.
When I was in that class,
yes.
That when we pronounce AUM, so they sound in different chakras. So A is sounding in the heart. The U is sounding in the throat and M is in the head. So you could talk and explain to the class what I mean, because do you remember that?
Yes, I kind of do, but I have the principle, and the idea is that these three particular sounds can be discriminated with value, and they activate different chakras. Ah in the heart,
yes,
U in the throat.
The sound itself.
Yes, yes. I think,
and that is very interesting because it is placing this when we think about the race, so that the letter is actually sounding in different center, which is related to the other ray.
Yes.
And you remember you were pointing out how the first goes to second and the second to the third and how it went.
Yes.
And it is exactly how the letter itself is sounding. And in that sense I am understanding about the creation process, because it is
keep talking loud, loudly.
It moves through all the centers.
Yes. Keep your voice up. I'm sorry to say that if the group is to be able to...
I cannot... I have to shout, so there's something wrong. We have to figure it out.
But
so
everybody,
give my love to everybody.
Okay, I'll give you love to everybody. Okay, thank you for those good thoughts. Appreciate that. Okay, yes, very good. And everybody's waving to you too. Okay, look, thank you everybody. Now, what we're going to do is just have a final Om for the day. And we began with a unitive triadal alignment at the at our meditation. And whatever wisdom may have descended, or new ideas or possible hints, we are grateful for. And we sound the Om. Okay. All right, thank you, everyone. We have dinner now, and thank you, electronic attendees. And now, there was a little bit of a snafu this morning, and hopefully I'll keep it rectified tomorrow, and hopefully when I go to webinar, there is a webinar for tomorrow. If not, I will send you a webinar now link, and you'll be able to, I'll create a webinar now and you'll be able to join us. So stay tuned to your email in case there's some kind of problem with making tomorrow's webinar work. Appreciate your presence, and well, ponder on this, okay? Ponder on this. Talk to you later. Thank you for being here.